Good morning. Welcome to another session on environmental impact assessment.
So we shall continue with the introduction, course outcome, describing the objectives, capability and limitations of EIA, learning outcome, prediction and evaluation of impacts in EIA, specific outcomes, explanation of the prediction of impacts, and explanation of the evaluation of impacts. So in the last session, we already covered some part of the specific outcomes. So we shall continue from wherever we left in this session. So assessment of significance of an impact. So what we really mean by significance of the impact? Significance implies the importance, right? So the determination of the importance or significance of an impact is defined in terms of the context and intensity. So context here refers to the geographical setting of the proposed project or action, right? So when a proposed shopping center is evaluated, the context for the determination of the significance is the immediate setting and the general community or area of influence, right? But not any country as a whole, right? So we are looking at only the particular locality or community or area in which the shopping center is located. So that is a context, that is a geographical setting of the project. When it comes to intensity refers to the severity of the impact, so the degree to which the proposed action affects the public health or safety. The presence of unique characteristics in the geographical setting or areas such as cultural resources, parklands, wetlands, ecological critical areas, wildlife, scenic rivers, how this is going to get affected, right, by the impacts of the project. The degree at which the effects are likely to be highly controversial, right? So how much the effects are going to be highly controversial. The degree at which the action would establish a precedent for further action with significant effects, meaning we have an impact. So what level of severity will be the secondary impacts due to this particular impact, primary impact, right? So that is also seen in the severe intensity of the impact. The degree at which the possible effects will be highly uncertain or involve risks, right? So as we said, there are some risks, there are some impacts which are uncertain, which we cannot predict ahead of time. So the degree at which the possible effects will be highly uncertain. The degree of effect on sites listed in the Central Court Register of Historic Places. So how much this particular project will have impact on monuments or historical buildings, right? The degree of effect on the threatened or endangered species or their habitat. How much this is going to affect the rare species, endangered species, right? Whether the action conflicts with other central state or local laws and requirements. So this is all we see when it comes to seeing the intensity of the impact. So we have seen the significance of the impact, we have seen the intensity of the impact. So impact evaluation and analysis. The purpose of an environmental impact evaluation analysis is to comparatively evaluate alternate courses of action, right? So the range of alternatives considered must include a no action or no building alternative also, right? And other reasonable courses of action. As we said in the beginning, no project is also a solution for the, it's also a solution uh, where we feel that this project is going to cause a lot of damages, and no project is also a project, right? So the steps of major steps of predicting, analyzing and judging environmental impacts in which objective and subjective judgments should be made are as follows. So these are the steps for predicting, analyzing and judging the impacts. One is identifying the major activities. Second is selecting the environmental components, that is air, water, land, uh, plants, animals, human beings. Then selecting the types of impacts. Then assessing the possibilities or probabilities of occurrence. Then determining the degree and time frame of the impacts. Designating the impacts as positive, negative, or neutral. Determining the trade-off among activities and impacts. Right. So these are the steps for predicting, analyzing, and judging the impacts. Coming to the examination of project alternatives. For example, these alternatives identified to correct transportation deficiency may include the following. So what we are doing here is we are taking a particular problem, right, transportation deficiency, and we are saying what are the alternatives for that, right? Construction of a new highway at the location of the problem, right? This is one of the solutions. Constructing a new highway or widening an existing route at another location that may divert the traffic away from the problem area. This is another solution. Widening of the existing highways. Providing high occupancy vehicle lanes, meaning where you have many vehicles going on the lanes, right? Uh, Meaning what we are doing is we are not having a single garage, we are making it into dual garage or maybe 3-lane road or 4-lane roads, right? Increasing the bus services, construction or extending commuter rail systems, revising the traffic signal timings, right? Adding left turn lanes or other such measures to improve the traffic flow. So these are some of the alternatives for a problem where there is transportation deficiency, right? Implementing inspection and maintenance programs to check vehicles for emissions. So, so what this inspection and maintenance program will involve? Switching to natural gas vehicles to limit the air pollutants. Encouraging major employers to offer incentives for corporate employees. Encouraging major employers to implement staggered work hours, right? Why? Because so that when you provide staggered work hours, the number of vehicles on the road will be less. So this results in lesser pollution or lesser emission of pollutants. Recommending that major traffic generators such as shopping centers or housing developments are located at alternative sites or areas. Why? Because when you have a mall or shopping center, you have a lot of vehicles coming, a lot of people coming, so you've got a lot of vehicles coming, so that creates a lot of emission. Coordinating with local planning officials in tackling potential future traffic problems through rezoning or limiting permits to vehicles and people, right? So factors to be considered for making decisions based on assessment of the significance of an impact. So there are 6 factors that should be taken into account when assessing the significance of an environmental impact arising from a project activity. So these factors are interrelated and should not be considered in isolation. For a particular impact, some factors may carry more weightage than others, but it is a combination of all the factors that determines the significance of the impact for a particular project. So what are those factors? Magnitude, prevalence, duration, frequency, risk, importance, mitigations. So let us see one by one what all these 6 factors mean. First one is magnitude. Magnitude means what is the uh, quantification of the impact, right? How much is going to be the impact? So there can be questions such as this: whether the impact will be irreversible. If irreversible, what will be the rate of recovery and adaptability of an impact area? Will the activity preclude the use of impact area for other purposes? Uh, what their meaning is whether the impact can be, uh, or to say whether the earlier environmental conditions can be recovered back. So that is what they're meaning by the impact is irreversible. So if we are able to bring back the area into its original condition, what will be the rate of recovery? At what rate or how many years will it take to bring back the original environmental conditions, right? Prevalence. So each action taken separately might present a localized impact of small importance and magnitude, but a number of actions could result in a widespread effect. So what is the prevalence? So when an activity is taking place alone, impact is different, right? Because its magnitude may be less. But when a number of actions are joined together, when you say there is a cumulative effect, right? So the cumulative impact is dangerous when compared to a single impact. Duration and frequency. The significance of duration and frequency is reflected in the following questions. Will the activity be long term or short term? If the activity is intermittent, will it allow for recovery during its active periods? Right? So, what will be the duration of the impact? What will be the frequency? Frequency means how often the impact is going to come. Whether it is going to end over here, it's only a single time that is happening, or it is going to, for example, industry emitting effluents into the water body, whether it is going to take place every week or it is only once in a year it is going to discharge those effluents. So, and if at all is does that, what will be the impacts? Whether the impacts will be short term, long term, right? Then risk. To accurately assess the risk, both the project activity and the area of the environment impacted must be well known and understood, right? So, how much there will be risk, meaning how much there will be lack of safety, to say in other words. Importance. This is defined as the value that is attached to the environmental component, right? What is the importance of the environmental conditions? Mitigations. Are there solutions to the problem available? Existing technology may provide a solution to a silting problem expected during construction of an access road or to bank erosion resulting from a new stream configuration, right? Is there any solution for reducing the impacts or removing the impacts altogether, right? So these are the 6 factors which determine the significance of an impact. The possible decisions using the above criteria are no impact, right? Unknown and potential, adverse impact, and significant impact, right? So based on this, we can tell whether what kind of impact a project is going to have on the environment. First case is no impact. Second case is potential negative impacts, but they are all unknown impacts. We cannot predict those things. And third is that we know what kind of impacts are going to happen. They are going to be significant or very heavy. So we'll end the session here. So long-term, short-term impacts are based on relevance, time and frequency, risk, and the importance, right? So thank you.
Thus, we come to the end of this session. Thank you for your participation. Looking forward to meeting you in the next session.